Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Flying and Eating. Today, let's go somewhere and do something, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Good morning, everybody. Today's adventure, I'm heading down to Puerto Rico with my girlfriend, who you guys are finally going to meet. Puerto Rico, if you've never been, is part of the U.S. down in the Caribbean. It's sometimes referred to as the world's oldest colony. Originally set up by Spain. I'll give you guys more details as we go. I have to get to the airport. I'm very, very tired. But looking at it on a map, there you go. That's where we're going.
We have arrived. We're at O'Hare, and that's the girlfriend, of course. And it's time to go hit up the clear lane, get through security, and get on our way to Puerto Rico. Okay, we are through that. Now heading down to the C-section with the magical little light bridge and on to our flight.
Babe, we are officially in the United Club. We're gonna hang out and get some drinks and stuff, some food, some breakfast. It's gonna be good times. Today we've got the egg and cheese biscuit. We've also got fruits and granolas and stuff. And of course, coffee. So this is what I went with this time. We got maple brown sugar instant oatmeal, which actually smells really good, and an egg and cheese biscuit. I've got a latte, some lemon water, and later I saw those banana and blueberry muffins. Yeah, I'm going for that. Muffin time. I'm pretty sure that's the banana one, and I'm pretty sure that's the blueberry one. To be honest, I don't know, and I don't think that's a good sign. So here's a little fun fact for you. I've got a tomato juice today. Now, I don't really like tomato juice, but I do like it on planes, and there's a reason for that. The chemistry in the air pressure actually changes the taste of it. You can only taste it this way when you are on a plane, and I swear it's good. And then on the ground, I would never drink this. Look it up if you don't believe me. It is a thing. And we've arrived at San Juan. The girlfriend here doing stuff. Anyway, so to take a quick look at it, never been to this airport before, because as I said, this is the first time I've ever been to Puerto Rico, which again is interesting for me because if you guys saw the U.S. Virgin Islands video, I've been to every part of the U.S. except for, at the time, Puerto Rico and American Samoa, which means this is the one of the parts of the U.S. I've never been to. American Samoa, you are the last on the list. Also odd, in 2022, somehow made it to the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Commonwealth of the North Mariana Islands. 4 out of the 5. Going to American Samoa would be really cool, but I don't think it's going to happen. Anyway, so we're going to look around at some stuff before we head out. Okay, I probably won't do this now, but they've got their own brands of coffee, stuff that's actually grown here, presumably, because Puerto Rico is one of the handful of spots of American soil where you can actually grow coffee beans. The only state that can do it is Hawaii, but actually most of the territories can, and this is no exception. Probably the biggest producer of it, actually. This is a cool area. They got the Air Margaritaville of Puerto Rico. They got a little plane, which reminds me of the U.S. Virgin Islands, where they did that. Actually, CNMI did that too. That's gotta be a coincidence that the territories all seem to do that. And we got some sort of coffee roasters, which I might partake in, maybe. So this is a store inside the mall, or inside the airport, that has a lot of kitschy type of stuff. But this one looks a lot more legitimate than some of the other stores we saw. This is really cool, though. I think this is neat. I could spend all day in here, actually. This is really neat. Well, yeah, you guys get a small sense of it. The El Market, Puerto Rico. So pro tip that we just learned the hard way. There's the store I was just showing you, go to that one. That's the one with all the good stuff. The others are just kind of like, whatever. Go to the good one. So we ended up renting a car. This is now the 3rd time I've ever rented a car in my life, which hilariously you guys have seen the other 2 times because I did it in the U.S. Virgin Islands and I did it in Saipan. I seem to have a penchant for renting cars in U.S. territories, but yeah, there you go. We are at a hotel called Hotel Mar Del Norte, and it's kind of interesting. You each get like your own little house, and they have like special padlocks and stuff. I'll show you inside in a minute. And it comes with a code, which I'm going to show you because I will not be here by the time you've seen this video, and it will change anyway. And then it opens up, and inside we have our own little place to hang out. We're supposed to be able to park the car there, though we're trying to figure that one out at the moment because the codes are different. But you got this like kind of Japanese style exterior. Man, there's seating all over the place for this. But those are different people's little bungalows. But ours is over here to the right. And we shall see. There you go. This also has a special key that we already got. And inside, I will show you what's going on. And the lights are not on, but you can see double bed or queen bed, whatever, TV, little kitchen, and down there is the bathroom. If you wanted to see an example of a Puerto Rican license plate, there you go. Staying consistent by showing you license plates from all the territories. That is how you know you're still in America. I've also seen McDonald's flags. Kind of like that flag back there, except McDonald's. There's also a Burger King, which we were specifically told if you want to go to the beach, go to the Burger King and then walk out from there. All right, so I'm at this place called Hottie's, which is a restaurant. You can see dual languages naturally. I'm just gonna say some of this stuff looks insane. Like, this is just the appetizers. Like, what is, you know, fried cheese with guava sauce? But that sounds great. There's so many great things in there. I don't know, it's gonna take me a while to figure this one out. The food we are getting looks insane. I really hope it lives up to the hype. You guys get a quick look at this place. Super friendly. It's pretty awesome. We've got our food and now we're heading back to the hotel. But before we do that, we have to stop and get some drinks. So I decided to support local. It's Walgreens. It's a very local thing. No, actually it's from Chicago. Okay, the long wait is over, and it was unfortunately a very long wait, but I got my churrasco with shrimp and a cheese sauce. There's rice. I got some beans to go with it. There's also this drink called Malta India, which is not a beer. This is a soda made locally that I'm gonna check out. The girlfriend also got this, which looks like some plantains, and then it's like chicken with like bacon stuffed, and then she got that cocoa drink I think I showed you guys at the airport, and if I didn't, there you go, this is a type of soda. So I got one too, I'll try it later, but for now, we're gonna dive in and hopefully enjoy. I'm gonna say this tastes like somebody decided, hey, you know what's really good? Rye bread. We should make that flavor into a soda. Yeah, I would not do this again. I think I have to dump this. I can't, it's almost like medicine. It's not a good time. Our food was kind of disappointing. Mine was like okay, not great.
Mine was terrible.
You hear that? She got a rock.
I can't eat.
It's like a rock. A chicken rock.
Good morning. It is day 2 here in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I am wearing my Alaska shirt because I have a penchant for the ironic. And today's plan, the girlfriend and I are gonna go find some food, then we're gonna hit up the beach, and then she's gonna go off and hang out with her friends. Because she has friends here. This is not usually how this goes. Usually I'm the one with friends in places. I don't know anybody here. Maybe that'll change, I don't know. But when she goes off to hang out with her friends, I'm sure I'll find some place for dinner and I'll show you guys that. As I sit here and look at the rental car I've gotten almost no mileage out of, here's a little warning to people out there because I didn't know this. Basically, when I rented the car, Puerto Rico has tolls on it. I don't usually rent cars. It's very uncommon for me. But the 2 places I have done it previously, the U.S. Virgin Islands as well as Saipan, the CNMI, do not have tolls. Puerto Rico does. And they basically told me, like, oh, if you go through tolls, it's like $9 a toll because you're not from here and that car is whatever, blah, 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 reasons. So I was basically told, like, don't take it outside of San Juan. And I've noticed in walking around that parking is kind of scarce. So kind of a double-edged sword because you kind of need a car to go anywhere of any significance, but it will also cost you more than you think. Uber doesn't exist. It does exist here, but it really doesn't exist outside of San Juan, and it's apparently not very good. It's still kind of a cab, area. Yeah, driving down here is like essential, but not particularly well engineered, or at least well engineered to get your money. That might be part of it. So I thought I would take a minute and talk to you guys about like why Puerto Rico is even part of the United States. As you can see, a USPS mailbox here. So the thing is, I'm no expert in this. In fact, I'm going to tell you an embarrassing story later, I'm sure, but it's not appropriate at the moment, about how I didn't even know Puerto Rico was a thing until I was like 15 years old. Again, I'll explain myself later. But it does have an obvious history to it. It's often referred to as the world's oldest colony for a reason. So basically, here's the elevator pitch history of this place and why it's part of the U.S. but not a state. As the Europeans did. They went around the world, they conquered everything, and that's where everything gets its origin. I believe the Spanish, or maybe it wasn't the Spanish specifically, but it eventually was the Spanish, started showing up in like the 1400s, the 1500s, probably the 1500s, and they colonized it. And we're like, yeah, this is great, we're just going to take this. And they had control of it until the Spanish-American War, when it was kind of informally turned over to the United States in like 1898, 1900, right around there. And that led to a weird situation. When the Spanish surrendered, the United States basically inherited all of its territories, its overseas territories, which I previously mentioned. That's how we got Guam. It is also how we got the Philippines. Did you even know that? We had the Philippines for 40 years. It was part of the U.S., and shortly after the Second World War, we gave them their independence. In Guam's case, it was too strategically valuable to get rid of. We also got Cuba. Did you know that? The United States owned Cuba for 2 years. But in 1903, the United States Congress said it was illegal for the U.S. to own that, so they turned it over to the Cubans for independence. Long story short with that, we promised the Cubans if they resisted the Spanish, we'd give them independence, so we had no right to occupy them right after. Right on. Puerto Rico had no such deal. It also did not have the strategic value of Guam. It just kind of sat there. It also wasn't far away and hard to control like the Philippines. Thus, it's been sitting in a limbo state ever since. In 1917, they formalized the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico. So it's been over a century of, you're part of the U.S. officially, everyone here is a citizen, but you don't get to vote. Which to me is gross. I feel, I don't live here obviously, but I'm technically a citizen of this place because it is in the United States of America. And I feel that these people deserve the right to make that choice. You know, do you want to be a state or not? And I realize the political hang-up for that is really what kills it. It has to go through the House, it has to go through the Senate. It gets through the House a lot of the time, the Senate doesn't allow it. And I'm just going to keep it completely honest, there are political reasons why Puerto Rico is not a state. And that's not the subject matter of this channel, but it is the same basic reason that all the territories aren't states. If you know your history, states typically get added in blocks. The last two were Hawaii and Alaska. Hawaii was one political affiliation, Alaska was of the other. The idea is to keep it balanced. Let's just say the remaining 5 territories are pretty much all in one direction, and there's a certain party that doesn't allow that. I'll leave it at that. But that's why these territories are kind of stuck where they are. Very notably, Puerto Rico is an oddball because unlike the other territories, it doesn't have a low population. If it was a state, it would be the 26th most populated state. It has a much bigger landmass than all the other territories combined. American Samoa being the other one, by the way, as well as the CNMI. And it has a relatively robust economy, which is somewhat exploited by its territory status. It's a big tourist spot, but point is, it's kind of awkward that it's not a state, more so than all of the other territories. Not that I get a vote in this, but if I did, I would say Puerto Rico deserves statehood. Guam and the CNMI deserve to merge into a single state, much like Hawaii used to be a series of islands that were individual territories, and they just merged. American Samoa, I have no idea what you would do with. U.S. Virgin Islands is right here. You would either attach it to Puerto Rico, which I do not believe the people of Puerto Rico would like, but you could theoretically do it. But maybe they would get their own statehood and just make it like the smallest state in the Union. But yeah, American Samoa, I don't know. But my point is, this particular place, Puerto Rico, deserves statehood if they want it. That's the biggest key. And that's up to them, and that's up ultimately to Congress as well. The other thing that's interesting about it is, unlike Guam, which had an incredible strategic value and is still the epicenter of U.S. military might in the Pacific, Puerto Rico is barely even acknowledged for that. Puerto Rico has one base, Fort Buchanan, and it's at best a technical presence. It's barely a military base. Not to discourage anybody who's stationed here or works there, and the work they do there is good. It's just that it's not like a giant naval shipyard where they use for strategic purposes in the event of an attack on American soil. It's more like a technical presence, and most of what they do apparently is like social benefit programs for Puerto Rico, and just so America technically has a foot in the door. But since we also don't really do that in the U.S. Virgin Islands, we essentially have no real military presence in the Caribbean, except ironically in our former territory of Cuba at Guantanamo Bay, but that is a very different story. So last night when the girlfriend and I were trying to figure out food options, we had a couple. Something horrible like Papa John's, or something local that I would actually eat. Don't eat Papa John's. What are you doing? Don't do that. But anyway, I'm going to this place.
All right, my food has arrived. It's got beef, it's got plantains, it's got cheese, it's bread. It's kind of like almost like a gyro. Not quite, like a little sandwich type of thing. Maybe like the Puerto Rican version of that. Also has some sauces, probably throw those on there. And as a bonus, I'm going to drink that cocoa drink thing.
I realize I look like a sweaty mess, but that was fantastic. Thankfully, that place is open 24 hours a day because that place was amazing. I wish I got two. That was really good. So it had like this, the beef was cooked to perfection. It was juicy, it was nice, it was great. Cheese melted nice, but also, you know, not in certain places. So it's got the texture thing, while the cheese thing, oh, it's great. Had black beans in it too. And it had plantains in it, but they were like sweeter, not full on bananas, but really like a nice mixture of flavors. It was really something. I'm probably gonna have to go back there at some point because that was really good. They didn't really speak English very well there, but it doesn't matter. You just point at a menu and it's whatever. And they take credit cards, which is always key for me. I've also started having this. This is much better than that other thing I had. I still have the bottle for it actually. This, don't drink this. This is terrible. But the Coco Rico. Basically, imagine coconut water, but carbonated. I mean, it's all fake, it's soda, but it's good. I really quite enjoy this.
And here we are at the beach. Actually, there's this cool little pathway. It goes to the Burger King, which heads right to our hotel. And then right from there, you have this great beach access, which I feel the girlfriend is gonna use more than I am because I'm still wearing shoes, because I'm an idiot. So unfortunately, the girlfriend hurt herself a little bit in the shower and this little thing was forged into her, but it actually looks like the shape of Puerto Rico. And babe, I think you were chosen by Puerto Rico. Look at that, bask in the sunlight. You are now one of these people, you are one. This is a nice beach. It ain't Guam, but it sure is nice. The only real difference between that and Guam, honestly, well, this is a phenomenal beach, it really is. It's also got people on it. Granted, not a ton, which is great, but I've been very spoiled if you saw the Guam videos. It's just amazing. Okay, I've got the shoes on, but I'm kind of required to do this, much like the US Virgin Islands or Saipan. I have to at least touch the water. Go ahead, shoes, get wet. I am fine with it. Bring it on. Yay, there you go. Okay, shoes are, ow, that was really wet. Oh well, girlfriend's judging me, I know. Interesting, you probably noticed this as well in some of the footage. Everything's in dual language or just Spanish. What's kind of unique about that is this is the only part of the United States of all 56 areas, 5-6 meaning 50 states, DC, and the 5 populated territories, where English is not the dominant language. Spanish is. For those who don't know, the US actually technically is one of only like 2 countries that doesn't have an official language, so you can really put up whatever as long as it's what's most useful, and this is the one part of the US where they decided Spanish was more useful than English. Although thus far I've had no problem speaking English everywhere, but then again, I'm in San Juan, I'm in the city, I'm like, you know, this is where tourists are, so that makes sense. I'm sure if you went to other parts of the island that might actually create problems, but it's an interesting observation nonetheless. I'd also like to point out that, of course, because this is part of the US, no passport is required to go here from, you know, the United States mainland, or the US Virgin Islands specifically, although it does enjoy some additional liberties that the other territories don't have. So when you leave Guam, for example, and head to Hawaii, they have to do a passport check, or an ID check at the very least. It has a little bit of a comb. The same thing happens when you go from Saipan, or the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, to Guam. They do a little filter. US Virgin Islands had a little bit of a filter. I've never been to American Samoa, so I can't say, but I would bet it does. But Puerto Rico seems to enjoy a special liberty of, like, you're a state without actually being called one. It's very odd. That's, again, why I think it would be great if a decision was made. It's not up to me to make said decision, of course. I don't get a vote on that, but I wish that a decision was made so that, you know, they aren't just kind of stuck in a limbo. So I haven't seen one yet, but I just saw an ad for a casino, which tells me, much like the US Virgin Islands or Saipan, well, CNMI, gambling is legal in this territory, which is interesting, because in most of the states it's not. It's legal in Nevada, parts of New Jersey, it's legal in Illinois, maybe a few others, but the territories tend to make it legal just because it's another source of revenue. One thing you'll notice here is a lot of dispensaries. I don't know if it's fully legalized or if it's still considered medicinal, but yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. So kind of an interesting observation, as I went to the Walgreens yesterday, I just thought of this. This is the only part of the country where you probably would ever see a Walgreens in Spanish, because I don't think Walgreens is actually an international brand. So there you go, unique. When you stay here, you're not just a playa, you're also a papaya. I don't know what the hell that means. I did not know this, but apparently cockfighting is totally legal down here. Good evening. It is time to go get some dinner. I'm gonna be going to something called like Metropole Restaurant Isla Verde. I don't know, I'll put it up on screen.
But it looked pretty good based on the menu. Has some pretty good ratings, and I'm gonna finally get mofongo, like legit one, not the one I had in the U.S. Virgin Islands. That was not the best. But this one should be pretty good, hopefully. Food has arrived. There's my mofongo with the churrasco steak. This is basically made out of plantains and stuff. I've been told a million times I gotta do this. And this is gonna be it. This is gonna be legit. And you can see it's covered in sauce, unlike the one I had in the U.S. Virgin Islands, which was just like a mound of nothing. This looks solid. That was fantastic. Very happy with that. The sauce, great. It was a garlic sauce. I had the choice of Creole sauce, and he recommended garlic. I think he was right. Churrasco steak was great. All around, very happy with the suggestion.
And that'll do it for part 1. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned to part 2, where I'll be hitting up the beach and, of course, getting more food. And yeah, it's going to be a good old time. So thank you very much for watching. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out the social media stuff in the description: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Patreon, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all later.